Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day. And today I remember to wear my Santa hat. It is Monday the 10th, and we are continuing the advent calendar of Christmas horror movie awesomeness with the second installment in the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, made in 1987. And as much as I really liked the first one, I was really hoping that the franchise would continue with some level of quality. And as I was watching this one, the only thought that really popped into my head was, well, that didn't take long. I'm going to go ahead and throw up all the scores at once because it really doesn't matter a whole lot. I'm just going to kind of go over my general impression of the movie and why it really just wound up failing for me. Now, first of all, the first 40 minutes of this movie, this hour and a half long movie, 40 minutes was a recap of the first movie. It was the character of Ricky, who is now the grown-up brother of Billy, who was the baby that was in the car when the parents got murdered on, the first movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and moved into the orphanage with them. And he is now in a mental institution for being a slasher Santa himself. All right. He's being interviewed by a psychologist, and it kind of cuts back and forth between them. But overall, for the first 40 minutes, he tells the story of Silent Night, Deadly Night, the first movie. And all this is archived footage from the first one. That's it. And then it starts to get more into, once that movie is over and that storyline is over, what happened to Ricky from there. And then it continues on with tellings of his past, how he wound up in the institution under lock and key, and then mayhem-ish ensues from there. This really was, I would say, generally pointless, just on surface level there. You can see the plot. I gave it a 2. I really couldn't give it any more than that. It was just bad. It was badly written. And to go from a 17 to a 2 in one movie, that is a bad sign, and I fear what is coming down the road for me. Regardless, this was just a really bad movie. I mean, all told, the premise of it was terrible as far as how to set up the storylines. Nobody should have had 40 minutes of a recap, and then the next 50 minutes of it were just over the top, cheesy, bad acting to the point where it wasn't even fun anymore. The only real snippet of fun you can find in a 21-second memed clip on YouTube, Garbage Day. Look up Garbage Day if you don't know what I'm talking about. That is Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and that is about as good as this movie got. I'm really sad to say. The intent, I do want to kind of cover the intent because that only got a 5, and the reason for that is I can't tell what this movie was really trying to do. I would say one of two things. Either it was trying to continue on the legacy of being a scary slasher movie, in which case it failed pretty miserably, or it was trying to just be a cheap cash grab, in which case it failed only moderately. It had a $100,000 budget, and it only grossed $154,000, and usually the budget doesn't include things like promotional materials and so forth. And even if it did, a 50% profit is not typically considered too much of a success in Hollywood. Really not a whole lot of successes to be had here. The acting was just god-awful terrible. Eric Freeman was miserable in this movie. From what I was reading on IMDb trivia, he was being given conflicted instruction about whether to play it fun and hammy like Robert Englund as Freddy, or play it serious. And he was getting different things from the director, different things from the distributor. And ultimately, you could see the confusion in his eyes as he tried to play a serious, menacing, over-the-top, goofy character, and it was just bad. Technical's not even really worth mentioning, just low average at best. It gives us the total score as 16 out of 25 points. Again, if you want to watch the best parts of this movie, it's 21 seconds long. Search for Garbage Day on YouTube. That should about do it for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, 1987. It really is one to pass by. Unless you're really invested in watching this franchise like I have committed myself to doing. But that should about do it for today. I really thank you for joining me. I know this review was short, but it kind of needed to be. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we're going to tackle Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, really hoping that turns into our Dream Warriors and redeems the franchise. We will see. In the meantime, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.